cool. It's a nice accolade, but we still have 2 more games before the Christmas break, so just focusing on those and seeing what I can bring to the table for those 2 games.
There's passage up.
We know Ohio State's playing really well, and they have some experience and a good goaltender. So it's just going to be about bringing the energy this weekend. Like you said, we have 2 games left, and it's just there's no excuse to leave anything out there. We get a nice long break after this. Some guys going to World Junior, so it's just making sure that we bring it both nights because those are huge 6 points.
All right, welcome in on this Friday. Yeah, it is a party. It's a party because you got Michigan playing Ohio State in hockey for 2 games, and we are pleased to bring in the play-by-play voice of Michigan hockey, Al Randall. You see him on the screen right now. Al, how are you?
I'm doing great. Dennis, a little history to this ring. Michigan and Ohio State played here for the first contest. It wasn't a concert, it wasn't a basketball game. It was a hockey game on January 2nd, 1999. And it was after the New Year's. And if all the people recall, that was the huge snowstorm and ice storm that hit Metro Detroit. And it paralyzed Metro Airport. Matter of fact, I think there was a lot of lawsuits that were involved of passengers that were on planes for 10, 12, and 14 hours that they couldn't get off planes. But we had a game here on January 2nd that year. The place was packed. It was a brand new arena. It was just open, and it was a win for Ohio State. Actually, they won 1-0 in that game. But that was back a long time ago.
Yeah, and we should say you were calling the goal for Michael Pashizov there. He was the number 1 star in the Big Ten. Pasta getting the number 1 stars. I mean, you see the Value City Arena, and you can hear the Zambonis dipping around. We'll do our best here, and to hear what you have to say about this weekend series against the Buckeyes. You know what, Al? I remember the little rink that they played at before the Value City. I went in there. It was like it really was a tin shack. You went in there, and I remember I looked out where the broadcast was, and you were probably 10 feet from the ice, kind of hanging over there. It was a nice proximity, but that place is I would say 1,000 times better.
I remember that too. I learned quickly that you shouldn't always have a sound effects mic because we were 5 feet above the bench, also 10 feet above the ice, but we were just above the bench. And of course, we didn't want secrets to come out. The language was fine. The secrets is what we were.
Yeah, I think you got that the other way around, is what you're talking about. Tell me about Michael Pashizov. He's not known as a goal scorer. I wouldn't have picked him in the first 3 or 4 or 5 guys, to come up with a hat trick, let alone a natural hat trick. 3 goals in a row there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we've had actually Manny Beniers had one last year in February, but they're hard to get. They're very, very few and far between in Michigan history. I'm not as prepared as I usually am, but I would have had a list for you. But the last one was Manny Beniers. I remember one that was scored by Alex Pyle. And that was in Minnesota. And he had the national hat trick. And that was the last time that a Michigan player, that was in 2016, had scored a hat trick against Minnesota. So they're few and far between. You see them every once in a while. And you wish you had more. But Mike Pashizov has been playing his best hockey of his career. That's why he came back. That's why Mel asked him to come back. And I think he made a great decision. And, of course, he was on the Mel Pearson radio show the other night. And he was echoing the same sentiment.
Yeah, tell me, you got Al Randall. He's down there at the Value City Arena, Michigan hockey. You can catch both games, go to mgoblue.com. I told everybody how to do that last week. It worked like magic for me. It still does. But number 3, Michigan, number 17, Ohio State. Both of those games are on TV, and you can hear with Al Randall. Tell me, go back last week, Al, because the first period was an onslaught. The Gophers were all over the Wolverines, and then Michigan returned the trick the next night.
And it was those things happen. Minnesota jumped on Michigan early, and the one that was the killer was the one just before the first period ended. There was only like a half a minute left. That's a killer. That's hard to get back. You can come back on 2 goals. 3 goals is very hard in hockey. I remember Coach Harrison used to say, first team to 3 wins. And that's usually right. I think Michigan has won every game this year except for one when the opponents have scored less than 3 goals. And that was beating Lake Superior 7-4.
All right, Al Randall, it's 7:30 tonight, 8 tomorrow. Do I have that right, the times?
7 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
7 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock tomorrow.
All right.
They have a basketball game here tomorrow, so it's always interesting. I've seen them. They get an Army. When we were way up in the broadcast booth, it looks like an army of ants that come and they take the hockey rink apart and lay basketball flooring over the top of it, and they do it in about 3 hours, and it's kind of interesting to watch. But it's also kind of interesting on how the ice survives, and if it does well. But we've really had no problems here ever at Ohio State that I remember having bad ice after a basketball game.
I did a basketball game at Maine one time, and they don't take the ice. They put the floor right over the ice there.
That's what they do.
Yeah, and it's, you always wonder if the players could feel it, whether it's a little cold underneath their feet or not. I don't know. I always thought about that. So they don't melt it down. See, there you go. Well, Michigan going to be without Owen Power and Kent Johnson. They head to the World Juniors here. So you're talking about not just taking, 2 very good players. These you could make the case they're the best. And so I don't know who's the bigger loss, who steps up in is it more of the defense, more of the offense here? Who's easier to replace? Who's the bigger loss?
I don't think any good player is easy to replace ever. But if you recall, Kent Johnson was out of the game last Saturday. He was not feeling well, and Mel Pearson held him back for that game on Saturday, which was a win by Michigan. So does Michigan have players that they can put in their place? You bet they do. They've got all kinds of players chomping at the bit to get into a game. And you'll see that tonight. I'm not sure the lineups haven't come out yet, so I don't want to mention any names, but I know a couple of guys that I think are going to be in the lineup tonight.
All right. When you have a game like this and then you have a little bit of break before the GLI here, how does the coaching staff, how does Michigan hockey approach this with these 2 games, and then they got a little bit of a break here, kind of let it all hang out? They don't have to save anything up, not if they would any other time, but how do they approach it?
Well, it's the last of the half, and Michigan is right up in the standings in the Big Ten. All these games are important, and the road games are what Michigan has excelled in this year. Think about the road victories that Michigan has had this year. They've had all victories on the road this year, so we'll see what happens here. But I'm sure they're looking forward to a sweep from Ohio State. They shut them out the last 2 times they played them. But you never know. Ohio State has always been a pest to Michigan for years and years and years in hockey. I remember one of their goaltenders making 52 saves back in '96 at Yost in a 2-2 tie. It happens. But we'll see what happens today. It's going to be a fun series. Always is. I like coming here. It's always entertaining.
Yeah, well, Al, when I think of, Michigan and Ohio State, I think back to not quite 2 years ago, but it was right when the pandemic hit and everything shut down. Get ready to head down. You were for the Big Ten tournament semifinals, and that was going to be on, I think, a Friday, Wednesday. You get ready to head on down there. The basketball tournament gets canceled on Wednesday, and shortly thereafter they shut everything else down, and kind of the rest is history there. But I always remember that Michigan was getting ready to take on Ohio State.
Exactly. Now Ohio State was down a little bit last year. They graduated some really good players, but they've got a new goaltender in there, young man from Czechoslovakia. He's been outstanding. He's got a 92.3 save percentage. He's seen a whole bunch of shots, and he saves just about everything. Where Ohio State might need a little more practice is on their special teams. Their power play has not been good for them. They'll admit that, and their penalty killing has been very average. So I'm sure they're going to have to have those special teams cranking to be in the game with Michigan today.
Hey, Al, give me a word on the GLA. I was looking. That's when Michigan will next. I guess their last games of 21 here. They'll play 2 games. I'm used to the GLI being downtown. It says Ann Arbor next to it. What do you think of the? I don't know, not the format now, but the location of the Great Lakes Invitation.
I think it's time for Michigan to have its own Christmas tournament. That's what I think. I think that as great and as much fun as we've all had at the GLI, I would like to see something else. When you have that multi-purpose building down in Detroit, you have to share it. You have to share it with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the Detroit Pistons, and the Detroit Red Wings. And around the holidays, they all get a higher ranking than Michigan. If you recall, the last 2 times that Michigan played down there, they played on New Year's Day. And it was always prior to New Year's Eve and after Christmas. So they weren't getting the crowds down there, and I can understand why they don't have it. How about that? They're testing the PA. But I don't know. They're playing 2 good teams in Michigan Tech and Western. They've already played Western twice and split. Western's one of the ranked teams. Michigan Tech not far behind. So it should be pretty good. But I'm sure everybody will miss going downtown Detroit and seeing all the Christmas lights and all the things that were traditions for everybody for many years.
Well, they'll get the duel in the D later on, so they still get to go down to Little Caesars Arena. All right, Al, sounds like a concert's getting ready to break out there. What are you expecting? I'm giving a 4-2 both nights. What do you think?
I think Michigan's going to win 2 one-goal games.
There you go. All right, well, we'll be listening. Again, so 7 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock tomorrow. So what's that make? 6:30 pregame?
6:30 pregame.
6:30 tonight, 7:30 tomorrow night.
I'm ready to go right now. Where's everybody?
Let's go.
Where are the teams?
Let's go. Al, I always appreciate your time. Have fun and a good call tonight.
Thanks, Dennis. Take care. See you next week.